Welcome to High Sobriety. Our goal is to save lives and remove the stigma of addiction. Here's the host of High Sobriety, John Mabry.
Hi, this is the host of Addiction Campuses High Sobriety podcast, John Mabry. And for those of you who heard our previous interview with General Barry McCaffrey, he wanted to correct a misstatement in his interview. The correct name of the president of Addiction Policy Forum is Jessica Husky Nickel. You can learn more at addictionpolicy.org. Now on to our latest episode of High Sobriety. Hi, welcome to Addiction Campuses podcast called High Sobriety. I'm your grateful, recovering host, John Mabry. And thanks to Addiction Campuses and continuing to work a recovery program, I'm sober today. And I'm so excited to introduce our guest is Mr. Charlie Clemence. Welcome to the show, Charlie.
Thank you so much for having me.
He's going to be talking today on a subject that, in my opinion, does not get the attention that it deserves in recovery. And what we're talking about is long-term aftercare. So for somebody to be successful coming out of a recovery program, out of a treatment center, there needs to be a long-term aftercare plan in place. And again, this is just my opinion. I think it is more important than the treatment itself. Treatment typically can last, 30, 60, 90 days, sometimes several months, depending on the treatment center. Once you get out of treatment, you're going back to your old play places, you're going back to your old playmates, you're going back into situations, and I'm speaking from experience where my wife didn't want me in the house, our finances had gone to crap, I was living in a sober living home, I was living away from my children, I had no job, so I had to go get a job, and all those stresses, built up. And if you don't have a long-term aftercare plan in place, you set yourself up for a less successful life in sobriety coming out of treatment. So we have a solution for that here at Addiction Campuses, and it is the hard work that Charlie does on a daily basis that helps people become more successful coming out of our treatment centers. And it's called a Balanced Life Program, long-term aftercare program called a Balanced Life, or ABL. So Charlie, first I think it's important for us to ask, what qualifies you to be the director of the Balanced Life Program here at Addiction Campuses? And then I want to talk about what is aftercare.
Well, I'm grateful that I could be here with you today, John. I think it's a valid question. What qualifies somebody to actually work with clients that are coming out of treatment? Nothing really qualifies me except that, I've been in recovery myself for over 20 years. I think I understand the intricacies of addiction treatment, particularly what's going on behind the scenes, behind the mind of addiction, those who are addicted to drugs and alcohol and other things. When I started looking at what am I going to do with the rest of my life after I was 45 years old, I went through a big life change myself. And so I started working in addiction treatment myself as a counselor. I spent a number of years doing that and helping develop new programs that would help meet the client where they are. I also went back to school, got my degree in the field of psychology so I could better understand where the clients are in their development. And then I went on from there and obtained a couple of certificates that have helped me to legitimize the effort that I'm putting in to meet that client where they are through coaching. So I'm a life coach. I'm a certified life coach, and that helps me to kind of have the credibility behind my name, but the credibility to my voice. And all of these things that I've done in the past few years have really just been preparation and building for what I believe we're undertaking here at Addiction Campuses now.
Absolutely, man. You are the perfect person for this program. I remember when leadership came and approached you about managing this and directing this, and no better person, but it has not been easy. And we'll talk about some of the ups and downs that you've seen in the process of getting this program started. This is a massive undertaking. However, it is one of the cornerstones of our organization and what's going to move us forward as continuing to be a treatment center that does things differently than the other ones out there. And being able to not just meet the clients where they are, but be able to meet the clients where they're going. And that's I think as important as meeting them where they are today is where are we going to get them, where are they going to be in 12 months from now, a year from now, and we're still going to be connected with them by some of the programs that we have implemented through A Balanced Life. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, this is a vital piece of the puzzle when you're talking about somebody in recovery. If you or somebody that a loved one that's struggling, this is a massive part of their recovery program is this aftercare. What is aftercare, Charlie, and what does it consist of, and why is it important?
Well, aftercare really is just a plan. What we hope to do at Addiction Campuses with our case managers who work in-house, inpatient, at each of our facilities is the moment that one of our clients goes into treatment, we are beginning to build a relationship with them through our case managers. And as they build that relationship with our clients, they are helping that client to discover for themselves what they want that way forward, that direction of the rest of their life to look like. And so as they write those discharge plans, that's a vital piece for our team in the long-term care area to take a look at that discharge plan and really get specific with it. So we take that discharge plan and we take it and break it down, and we ask some very specific questions around like 12-step groups. A client says, part of my discharge plan is I want to be able to go to these 12-step program groups, right? Well, a plan is only as good as the person's willing to execute that plan, right? And so it's so important for us to discover where the client is at the point of discharge. And we can talk about pause here in a minute, but when a client discharges from treatment, they've only partially made their decision to actually follow through with their stated vision or their goals, which is part of that discharge plan. And so our team is dedicated to meeting the client where they are and then helping them chart a way forward that's based on those stated visions, that stated goal that they had set for themselves while they're inpatient. So that's really what the discharge plan is there for, is to kind of begin their process, begin that journey into long-term care.
Okay. Now, if somebody comes into treatment, how does that plan get started, and what does that look like? Are they taking they take an online assessment, right? They take an assessment through the Balanced Life curriculum. Is that correct?
Well, that assessment is actually done by our case managers now that are working outside of treatment. So we actually have a program in place that's part of the ABL program called long-term case management. And when they discharge out of treatment, when they choose to sign up with our program, they're actually getting a one-on-one long-term case manager that is going to walk with them for the entire year after treatment.
And that's almost unheard of in the industry, isn't it?
No one's ever tried this before.
So it's not almost unheard of, it is unheard of.
This is a huge idea. Because one of the things that we've discovered in our experience with looking at different models of how to meet the client where they are, we discovered that the plan is already written while they're inpatient. All we have to really do is figure out how can we meet them there and how can we help them stay the course. And we, in the industry, have not done a great job of that up until recent. And so what Addiction Campus's vision is, obviously greater outcomes for our clients is what we want to see. It's in the how-to that we've got to figure out how we're going to accomplish that goal. So long-term planning for our clients is simply taking that discharge plan that they're writing while they're inpatient with their in-house case manager, and then our team, the long-term case managers, are being assigned to those clients specifically. And there's a number of ways in which I do that. But, we want to pair them up with someone that is going to be compatible with that client. And then they're going to begin making calls to that client like the day after they get out of treatment, just so that we can keep our hands on that client and walk with them and begin developing that relationship with them that is so vital as they go on their journey outside of inpatient treatment.
Man, and from experience coming out of treatment that first day, terrifying. It was terrifying for me. So to know that there would be somebody calling me as soon as I got out from the treatment center that I just entrusted to help me can make somebody feel so much more connected and so much more valued as an individual, and so much more I can just imagine feeling so much more cared for and so much more compassion, which is completely in line with our mission here. Our mission statement, Addiction Campuses, treat people with compassion.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that's so huge.
One of our objectives is to literally do a warm handoff from the treatment center to one of our long-term case managers, so that there is a continuum of care that takes place from the time that they enter one of our facilities until after they leave the facility. They're still getting the same level of care, only it's a bit from a distance, obviously. We're on the phone with them. But oftentimes what we're finding is that these clients' relationships are all broken. You had mentioned that earlier, that the brokenness of the relationships in their families and in their social life and in their spiritual walk and all of these different areas, even in their work and their health, all of these areas have to be addressed. What we want to do is we want to have a case manager that's going to understand where they are, offer them some resources and some help as they go through this process, and be a safe and comfortable place for that client to land, because oftentimes they do not have a relationship in place that's safe for them as they come out of treatment. And we want to be a safe, respectful place for them as they begin that journey of long-term, what does it mean to be clean and sober for a long period of time.
Yeah. So our Balanced Life program is designed to be a 12-month program. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I think the next question that comes to mind for me is, before we go any further, how much is it? How much is 12 months of aftercare? It's got to be another $10,000?
So it's actually ridiculous how much we're charging, because we are literally charging a client $1,000 for 12 months of treatment after treatment. I mean, when we get into the nuts and bolts of what we are offering, it's mind blowing that we can actually offer a program for this cost for all that we're investing into it. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why we're keeping the costs down. It's not about Addiction Campuses making money. This is not about us getting a few more dollars out of the pocket of the client or their family. This is about a vision that our CEO, Brent Clemence, has, and that we want to promote. We want to see this vision succeed. We literally want to change the direction of the industry. And in order to do that, we believe that in time, we will show that our program will be successful. And our effort is to keep the cost as low as possible, because we know that families are already struggling financially. It has to be able to pay for itself, so we have to charge something. And we're asking the clients and their families to invest, $1,000 more for a very long period of time, so that they have the greatest advantage for the longest term of recovery.
Nice. I mean, it's unheard of. $1,000 for 12 months of continued phone calls and connection and resources and help along the way. That's got to be. And
just to break it down, as a life coach, if you were to come to see me once a week, life coaching can cost anywhere from $80 to $150 per session, depending on the region you live and the types of coaching that you need. So if you look at that, and just take the small number of $80 a week, I mean, you're looking at several $100s a month. Stretch that over the course of a year, and you're looking at several $1,000s of coaching that client could take advantage of. And what we're offering is a program for $1,000 for a full year. You get life coaching, weekly group life coaching, and then a long-term case manager that's going to stick with you for the entire year, that's going to follow up with you. And we use a couple of skill sets that are super important. One, we use a skill set called motivational interviewing. And motivational interviewing is simply asking open questions that allows the client to decide for themselves, A, where they are, and B, where they want to go. And so really, they're investing in their own future. And all we're doing is simply using a skill set that helps them to discover what are the areas of your life that you want to change the most right now. And those are the areas that we really focus on. We also use the group coaching to help clients identify areas of their lives where they may be out of their view. They may be in the peripheral, but they may not be focusing on it. And so we want to help them discover areas of their lives where they may have some denial going on and not even know that they're in denial. So those are the two coaching aspects of the program that are super important. And I would say that those are really the pillars of our program is in the coaching. We also use a text service that helps us engage the client daily through inspiration and encouragement.
So what does that look like?
So every day, like I get a text every day from this service. And every day I get an inspirational text that helps me to, think through, where am I right now in this particular subject? Am I doing my best? We use one of the resources that we use for our group processing and educating is the 4 agreements. And I love those 4 agreements because even if I'm not a spiritually minded person, I can take those 4 agreements and begin a spiritual journey by asking myself these questions. Am I doing my best right now today? If I'm willing to do my best right now today, then I'm going to become aware of where I am. I'm going to acknowledge where I am, and then I'm hopefully going to be willing to ask for the help that I need.
Nice. Now, what are, when somebody takes kind of the initial assessment, what are the 6 areas of the Balanced Life program that we focus on? Okay, well,
that's a great question. So I see everything in the forms of relationship. I am a relationship coach. And so I see everything in that in those areas of relationship. We start with family. Where are you with your family relationships? Then we go to health. Where are you in your health? That's a personal relationship with yourself. Where are you with your work and finance relationships? Where are you with your social relationships? Where are you in your spiritual life? And then lastly, what is it that you want to improve on the most? So we use that last one, that 6th category as self-improvement. So what are those 5 top areas? Which do you want to really improve on? And so we start asking questions about those main topics.
Okay. So somebody identifies, I'm really weak in a certain area. Can you take us through a practical example of somebody in treatment at one of Addiction Campus's nationwide network of treatment centers, and what happens when they leave the facility? You described earlier they're going to get a call the day that they leave, but can you take us through a case study of somebody that you've seen who's come into treatment, identified a particular area, you followed up with them afterwards, and you've seen progress after that?
Absolutely. So I use an example of a client who went to one of our facilities for alcohol addiction. He admitted himself into treatment, knowing that he had some severe alcohol addiction and that he needed help. Okay. Once he identified that he needed help and went to one of our facilities, when he went into treatment, he was met with a case manager. They began building a plan forward. On the backside of treatment, when he came out of treatment, one of our long-term case managers called him the very next day after he got out of treatment just to introduce themselves and welcome him into our program. Okay. They sent me an email and said, hey, this person is interested in your life coaching program. Can you give them a call and set up a meeting with them? So I did that. I met with the client. We discussed what their goals were and what they wanted to see for their life. And I asked them a series of questions. Kind of came down to that this person was really struggling in their family relationships, and they really wanted to work on relationships with children and spouse. Okay, so we began there. And I just did over the phone just kind of an assessment as to where he was with each of his relationships. At the end of that discussion, we started talking about goal setting. What are some of the things that you want to see change in your life in the near future? So I use a SMART goal strategy that gets specific and measurable and attainable. They're relevant goals that are time sensitive. And so we use that SMART goal strategy to help that client discover for himself what are the areas of your life that you really want to see change. And then we start by simply setting those small, specific goals each week to help him achieve where he wants to be in those relationships. And right now he's thriving. He's thriving because A, he has a safe place to land. He knows that he can trust his case manager going forward. Anytime he needs something, he's able to reach out to his case manager. We have a weekly schedule where I meet him each week at a specific time, and we talk about how things went the week before. We look at that and we measure that. And then when somebody gets discouraged, and they always do in their recovery, they always get frustrated. And I hear all the time, gosh, I'm not seeing any progress. I think I'm going to quit. Okay, well, let's talk about where you are right now, why you're frustrated, and how we can get you moving forward again. So we begin looking at is where that person was the time that they came to begin visiting with me or one of my other coaches, and where they are now. Because what we want to show them is how they can begin measuring that progress. Because if I can show you where you're progressing, then you're most likely you're going to be more willing to stick with it. So it's really important that we coaches can help the client see and chart that progress that they're making. Because so oftentimes they get stuck in what we call that post-acute withdrawal that stays with them for so long. We want to help them reason through that pause.
Yeah, because somebody coming out of treatment, you're always going to hit walls. You're going to hit walls every single day. Sometimes hour by hour, you're hitting a wall. Something's not working out. Something's not going the way that you had it envisioned in your head. And it just sets the stage for going back to your old way of how you reacted to stressful situations. I'm just going to put something in my body to help change the way I feel right now. Drugs, alcohol, pornography, whatever that, gambling, whatever your addiction is. This is such a huge program. Again, if you're we're talking about a balanced life program here at Addiction Campuses with Charlie Clemence, the director of this program. It's helping assist our clients coming out of treatment to set them up for long-term success. And we're not a treatment center that, there are other treatment centers out there that don't mind people coming back. It's additional revenue for the company. Hey, come on back. Oh, it didn't work. Come on back. You know what? Come on back. We have goals in place. We have programs in place so that we don't see clients again in our treatment centers. We want to help treat people correctly the first time. I've been to 3 treatment centers, 3 inpatient treatment and 3 outpatient treatment centers prior to coming to Addiction Campus's Treehouse facility over 2 years ago. And I felt the compassion. I felt the love and the attention that Charlie is portraying here in this interview right here today. I felt that on the campus, unlike any other treatment facility that I'd been to. And I've been sober since. And I've been able to stay connected with the company, stay connected with the values, stay connected with the mission by working here. That's been, I have that benefit of coming into the office and being around all this. But to see that behind the scenes, the amount of work that you have put in as the director of Balanced Life program is going to set people up for much longer success than any other treatment center out there. And I just want to say I applaud what you're doing. It is very difficult to set this. We're charting new territory. You are charting new territory. Our company is in the addiction treatment industry. Nobody else is doing this, and you're spearheading this. I want you to. I'm kind of giving you a little life coaching session here as you're in the office. You have made so much progress in the last year and a half that you've been working on this. I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud to be a part of this organization. What would you say is the most important part of the program for somebody just coming out of treatment? What do you think is it? I mean, my opinion is just signing up. The most important thing is just trust that we're here, trust that you've been through treatment with us. And hey, let me ask you this. If somebody hasn't been going through treatment with us, can they do this program? What about a family member? Can a family member go through this program? Can you talk about that a little bit? Well,
and I appreciate the question and your vote of confidence in me. So up to date right now, as we've rolled out this program, we're keeping it very specific to those clients who actually have discharge plans in front of them. This is helping us in our long-term case managers discover the direction that those clients want to go. As to clients who have gone to other facilities, unless they have a discharge plan that we can follow with them, it's very difficult for us to help them.
Okay.
It's very specific to Addiction Campuses. So this is a trademarked program that is very specific to our programs that are in-house. Because this really is a continuation of much of the same programming they're getting while they're inpatient. We're offering in a continuum of care after they leave treatment.
Nice. So I want to plug the number here. If you're listening right now and this is something you want to be a part of, this is something you or a family member needs to jump on right now, pick up the phone and call Addiction Campuses right now. We'll have a treatment specialist walk you through this process to make sure that you get into our program if we meet your needs. And if we don't meet your needs, what's great is our treatment specialists that right now this month are anticipated of taking 15,000 calls this month. Is if you're not a great fit for our facility, we'll help find that facility for you. So it's just a one phone call that you have to make. And that number, if you want to jot it down right now, is 844-888-HELP. Again, calling Addiction Campuses treatment specialists right now to talk about if treatment at our facility is meant for you and a balanced life program afterwards. The number is 844-888-HELP. And the email, if you want to shoot an email with a comment or a question or a concern, or you're looking for treatment, you can email me at high sobriety at addictioncampuses.com. Again, high sobriety at addictioncampuses.com.
So if I could answer just that last question, because I don't think I got to, what is the most important thing that the client can do when they go to one of our facilities if they want to take advantage of this long-term care? Signing up, obviously, is the most important thing. But I would say, in addition to that, is finding that connection. So oftentimes our clients are disconnected from all of their relationships. They're disconnected from themselves. They're disconnected from their family. They're disconnected oftentimes from work. And they don't have one person that they can trust. And so our encouragement today is that if you're struggling, and you are struggling with in your relationships with yourself, with a power greater than yourself, or your social relationships and your family relationships, use us, call on us, let us help you, because we can establish a safe place for you to land while you're rebuilding your life and really looking for the balance that will work for you. Because my balance isn't the same as your balance. Right? So if you're looking for life balance, we want to meet you right where you are. And that's really our objective, is to meet you right where you are. We don't want it to look like, what my recovery looks like, or John, what your recovery looks like. We want every client to understand that this is your personal journey, and we simply want to meet you there.
Absolutely. And we have the people in place to do that. Right around the corner from the office that we are sitting in right now, recording this podcast, is a line of cubicles where you have your team in place right now, today, to be able to handle these types of situations and be able to see people through a longer success rate and longer success in their recovery and in their relationships and in their financial life and in their social life.
If I could add just one more thing to the mountain of program that we offer, I would say that a lot of times our clients call in and their families call in, and there's a lot of concern about court proceedings and charges that they're pending, and the court is requiring long-term care. The probation officers are saying, oftentimes you're going to have to do at least a 90-day program, up to a year program, or you're going to be facing some jail time. And what we want to do is we want to help our families, and we can provide legal letters to the court and to those probation officers that will actually give them reasons for joining into our program. It will actually help them in their court proceedings and in their charges that they would be facing. I've actually seen a lot of clients whose charges have been dropped or at least lessened when they join into our program, and then we are able to actually show the court some follow-up and help them to be accountable to the court as they go through our program.
Again, that number, if you want to call right now, is 844-888-HELP, and the email is highsobriety at addictioncampuses.com. Charlie, what can we look forward to in a balanced life? What's coming out? What's coming down the pipeline that maybe hasn't been implemented just yet, but that is going to? Something that we can look forward to. I know you're continuing to build this program up. Is there anything that's not quite in place that people can anticipate looking forward to?
Great question. We are always looking for new and innovative ways how we can meet the clients where they are. And so, we've implemented the one-on-one coaching. We have the group coaching. We have the long-term case managers that are following through with those discharge plans. And we have the texting service. But we're not going to stop there. we want to take this even further. So we're right now working with a company to develop an app that can be downloaded to your phone. And this is going to be a powerful tool that the client can use to help them stay on course, help them stay connected with our team, the long-term case managers, and their coaches. So we're constantly looking for new and innovative ways that we can up our game, so to speak, raise the bar for ourselves. And really what we're doing is we're raising the bar for the industry. Our hope is that we can end this revolving door of addiction and the cycle of treatment. This is costing all of us a tremendous amount of resources, and our families are suffering. This is an epidemic that we have got to get in front of, and we at Addiction Campuses are committed to getting in front of that deluge, so to speak, of addictions that are coming our way.
Absolutely, dude. That's awesome. An app coming out that's that just going to keep people even more connected than they already are in the program. That's incredible. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Is there anything that we haven't covered that's vital for our listeners to understand about a balanced life? Is there anything that we haven't touched on?
I don't think so, but I would just say that that if there's someone out there that has an area of their life that they really want to take advantage of, and they want to fix, they want to heal, they want to forgive, whatever that relationship looks like. If you come to one of our facilities and you really want to take your recovery to a whole new level, then you would be doing the right thing for yourself by inviting one of our team members to join you in your journey. You will not be disappointed.
Excellent. And is it true that I've heard that insurance companies, that we've had a few instances where somebody's insurance company allowed them more coverage at one of our treatment facilities because we had a balanced life program set in place?
Insurance companies are definitely beginning to look at our program, and they are definitely beginning to recommend our facilities based on the fact that we are proactively doing something about long-term care.
Excellent. I think it's important. I mean, that's important. Again, we're setting a new course for the industry, and so much so that insurance companies who are, hard to crack sometimes are starting to recognize that what we're doing is different and better, and they're starting to recognize that and maybe give someone coverage or more coverage to go to treatment than maybe another treatment center, or maybe not at all. So guys, if you are out there and this is something that you want to be a part of and jump on board, please, maybe today is the day that you've been needing to hear this and wanting to hear this, and you need to take action, and it's not difficult to pick up the phone and give one of our treatment specialists a call right now. Again, the number as we close out is 844-888-HELP, 844-888-HELP, or email me at highsobriety@addictioncampuses.com. Again, I'm your grateful recovering host, John Mabry. We've been speaking with Charlie Clemence, the director of a balanced life program at Addiction Campuses. We value you as a listener, and please share this episode with somebody if you feel that this is something that somebody else needs to hear. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host, John Mabry, with Addiction Campuses Podcast at High Sobriety.
Thank you for listening to High Sobriety. If you or a loved one are struggling with an addiction, we can help. Call our hotline at 844-888-HELP. That's 844-888-4357. Don't wait. Call today, 844-888-HELP. High Sobriety is an Addiction Campuses podcast.